and sweet as the angel sings. The music ceased, and the auctioneer, with a voice that was quiet and low, said, "Now, what now am I bid for this old violin?" as he held it aloft with its bow. 1,000, 1,000, do I hear 2? 2,000, who makes it 3? 3,000 once, 3,000 twice, going and gone, said he. The audience cheered, but some of them cried, "We just don't understand. What changed its worth?" Swift came the reply, the touch of the master's hand. And many a man with life out of tune, all battered and bruised with hardship, is auctioned cheap to a thoughtless crowd, much like that old violin. A mess of pottage, a glass of wine, a game, and he travels on. He is going once, he is going twice, he is going and almost gone. But the master comes, and the foolish crowd never can quite understand the worth of a soul and the change that is wrought by the touch of the master's hand. And we all know what amazing light Dottie brought because she was touched by the master's hand to all of us. And I'm particularly caught up with this beautiful part of it which said, "He played a melody pure and sweet as the angel sings." And that reminds me so much of Dottie.
And oh, so mellow. Now, which one do you have? Which one do you have? Are you turning it on? Which one do you have? Did you turn it on? Where are you at? Turn it on. Is it on?
So we have a wonderful opportunity.
Most of all, we played bingo on Friday. Daddy liked to win. Daddy was in competition with everybody, almost, which we all did. It was such fun and a joy. And Daddy was a good comeback. Well, whatever anybody said to her, she had a great comeback. She was a great lady. Just in the short time that I've known her, she was a great lady.
I'm going to attempt to do a song that won't go away here.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no, not a new song. It's a large group of people. But it won't let me off the hook, so I'm going to. When I heard it a few days ago. When I heard it a few days ago, is that better? I said, oh, that's a Dottie song, and I should do it. I'm gonna. Okay, it's about faith, love, and being strong. So it's got to be a Dottie song. If you love somebody, well, you need somebody. And if you need somebody, that what makes you weak. And if you know you're weak, and that you need somebody, well, funny thing, that's what makes you strong. Oh, that's what makes you strong. That's what gives you power. That's what lets the meek sit beside the king in our final hour. That's what makes you strong. That's what gives you courage. That's what makes you sing. If you trust somebody, you will be disappointed sometimes. Sometimes the plans you make don't turn out like you want. But if you're the trusting kind, well, it never even crosses your mind. Oh, and the funny thing is, that's what makes you strong. Oh, that's what makes you strong. That's what gives you power. That's what lets the meek sit beside the king in our final hour. That's what makes you smile. That's what makes you sing. Oh, that's what makes you strong. That's what gives you power. That's what lets the meek sit beside the king in our final hour. That's what makes you smile. That's what moves our soul. And that's what makes us sing.
Hi,
Don't need them.
I inherited my mother's voice, so I'm Dottie's youngest daughter. I'm Karen, and it's wonderful. Thank you all so much for coming. I first read this poem back in high school. Duke Ellington School of the Arts, we had a high skip program, and I went up to Georgetown. And even though it's not absolutely, completely in spirit, this is my mother has always been to me. My clumsiest dear, whose hands shipwrecked vases at whose quick touch all glasses chip and ring, whose palms are bulls in china, burrs in linen, and have no cunning with any soft thing except all ill at ease, fidgeting people. The refugee, uncertain at the door, you make it home. Deftly you steady the drunk, clambering on his undulate floor. Unpredictable, dear, the taxi driver's terror, shrinking from far headlights pale as a dime, yet leaping before red apoplectic streetcars, misfit in any space, and never on time. A wrench in clocks and the solar system, only with words and people and love you move at ease. In traffic of wit, expertly maneuver and keep us all devotion at your knees. Forgetting your coffee spreading on our flannel, your lipstick grinning on our coat, so gaily in love's unbreakable heaven, our souls on glory of spilt bourbon float. Be with me, darling, early and late. Smash glasses, I will study rhyme music for your sake. For should your hands drop white and empty, all the toys of the world would break.
This is clearly what a spiritual revival looks like. My name is Dixie Bosley, and I'm a member of the 8-Day Faith Community. And I had the great privilege of being a part of a faith community where Dottie was our matriarch. Much of our belonging together was because she was with us. It was her passion for community, her passion for worship, and her passion for prayer that was the cement that really glued our little community together. Our little church was changed by her presence, and we will be, I'm looking at our members, we will be changed by her resurrected presence. And Carol, and all the beautiful children of her family. Carol, thank you for your courageous resolve this past week, and bless you. You and your family literally loved your mother to death by granting her end-of-life wishes. Hopefully, each of us in this room have a Carol in our lives, somebody who knows us and will be in that place between living and dying. And if you don't, find one. Carol told me that her mom, one of her wishes, that her mom was going to donate her body. Yes, Dottie is a person that keeps on giving. And my first thought was, of organ donation, I thought, wonder who the lucky person will be who will get a heart, Dottie's heart. And then I realized that all of her organs will be used for learning. And so then I thought, what are the learnings that I have had from Dottie's heart? So lesson 1, build community. Build community. Build community. Everywhere and with everyone. So be it. The second lesson from Dottie's heart, show up. Dottie attended both my mother and my father's funeral out of town. She showed up in our joys and she showed up in our pain. Lesson number 3, fight back. Dottie was sweet as a kitten and she was fierce as a tiger. Dottie was stubborn. And Lou, I'm looking at you. She was fiercely independent, and she was determined to do it her way. In her spirit for life could not be contained in her aging body. Lesson number 4. Worship. Always and in all ways worship. Celebrate the goodness of God's relentless love for each of us. And finally, lesson number 5. Serve. While she saw herself, as the poet said, she saw herself as a battered, scarred old violin. But she knew deep in her heart that the Master's touch could use her whole self for service. And so it was. The worth of a soul, the change that is wrought by the touch of the Master's hand. So be it.
Hi, my name is Eliza, and I'm Dottie's granddaughter. And wow, this is really amazing. I'm glad we made it down here a little late, but we're here, and I'm really happy. And I really lucked out. I got 2 really amazing grandmothers, 2 of the most amazing women I've ever known. And I tend to be very political and environmentally inclined, and she always knew what was going on. And we just had the most amazing discourses about real things in the world, and she made me have a lot more respect for people in the world, and she made me want to be a humanitarian and to never act out of judgment. And I feel very proud to have her blood in my veins. And I'm really glad to be here with all of you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, well, he's done.
Donnie's been a good sister of ours, and we'll miss her all. I miss her real bad, you know. She's been a good Christian sister for all the people in the United States. I'm Charles Clark, Vice Representative for the USA. Thank you.
I'm Gail Arnell, and I met Dottie 41 years ago, and Karen, you and I played basketball. I don't know if you remember. I lived with Dottie for 3 years, and our favorite game was Rummy Cube. You all know that game. And we played, I don't know, 3 or 4 games a day. And we loved it. But the story I want to tell you is 10 years ago, I was invited to go with a bunch of folks that were over 50 to go for a weekend to play sports. And Dottie would have been about 76. So I said, hey, why don't you come with me? So she did. So we had we played basketball and we were playing kickball, and we said, Dottie, come play kickball with us. Well, she was the pitcher, and it was great. And so then it was our turn to kick the ball, and so she got up and kicked it, and for some little quirky thing, she got on first base. And we were all so tickled with the whole thing. We were hooting and howling, and she stole the second.
Yeah!
I don't need that microphone.
Did you turn it on? Did she just turn? I mean,
I'm Lauren. I'm Dottie's niece.
Yeah, I'm showing you.
I want to tell a story about Dottie. Dottie's, my mom was Dottie's sister-in-law. My parents got divorced, and fortunately we inherited Dottie. My mom fortunately stayed friends very much with Dottie. I mean, I know she appreciated Dottie's love after a massive divorce. But I was in the Air Force with my husband, and we were stationed in Germany. And Dottie and my mom came to visit. At this point, my mom was mostly in a wheelchair, and this may sound odd, but thank goodness
she was in the wheelchair because we made Dottie push the wheelchair, and it's the only way that my husband and I can keep up with Dottie. We would get to the end of every day and go, oh my God, I'm so tired. And then I'd like to ask everybody a question. How many of you have actually ever ridden in a car? Driving? Oh my God. Driving. And the reason you live to tell about it, well, I have to tell the story. So we were all from Chicago. Dottie was originally from Chicago, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with Chicago, but there was a big street called Lakeshore Drive. And during rush hour at 4:30, it is very busy. And there are actually red lights on this. So, think like K Street or one of the big streets here. Dottie blew the lights across Lakeshore Drive at 4:30 in the afternoon with all of us in the vehicle. Oh my goodness, yes. And the only way that we are all alive, many of you in this room, is because there was a whole host of guardian angels taking turns with Dottie. See, now it's your turn. She's driving again. Unfortunately, many of those guardian angels are now welcoming Dottie home with open arms, and I can't say how much that we will all miss Dottie. I know I say that for everybody and all members of my family. Dottie, we miss you. We are glad you're home and at peace with all of your guardian angels.
I have to add to that about driving in the car. Dottie and I
Does she need to turn it on?
across the country, all the way to Alaska, in a little sports car. I don't recommend it. By the way, Dottie had lived her last year with me and shared my apartment. Use the mic. Sarah Circle.
You got to turn it on. Can you turn? Turn.
It's on. It's been on. It doesn't.
You ready? It sounds like there should be a story driving with Dottie.
Hey, meet. Trade on.
This past week my name is Marcia Harrington. I'm part of the Eighth Day Faith community. And 40 years ago, Dottie was one of the founding members of the community. And we still have, I think, 2 other people who were founders. But it has been such a blessing to have her strength and her love as part of our many lives over these 40 years. This week, I was very aware that space was changing for me. And it was because I was realizing that Dottie was moving on. And every Wednesday I go to a quiet time at the First Congregational Church downtown. And the metaphor of rain was heavily with us. And the leader of the circle shared a love poem from St. Francis. And with tears in my eyes, I listened to it. And at the end of it, I thought, yes, this is Dottie. It's called Wring Out My Clothes. Such love does now the sky pour down, that whenever I stand in a field, I have to wring out the light when I get home. I have to wring out the light when I get home. And I was imagining Dottie at home now, bringing out the light. And I'm also hoping that all of us will continue to bring out the light and bring out the love that Dottie poured out on us.
Lou also is one of my priestess friends. We are competing as to who does the last thing. But I'm going to give her the last word after I do my reading, because you deserve that. but I do have a reading for all of us. It's really a prayer. I am resorting to the Book of Common Prayer for this. Lord, now let your servant Dottie, who has given so much, go in peace. Your word in Dottie has been fulfilled. She has been a light to all the nations, a glory to all of the people. We commend Dottie to you, God, as she journeys beyond our sight. God of all consolation, in your unending love and mercy, you turn darkness of death into the dawn of new life. May we not be afraid of death, but desire to channel your power the way Dottie did. And after our life on earth, we may be with those we love, where every tear is wiped away and all things are made new.
Something has spoken to me in the night, burning the tapers of the waning year. Something has spoken in the night and told me I shall die, I know not where, saying, to lose the earth you know for greater knowing, to lose the life you have for greater life, to leave the friends you loved for greater loving, to find a land more kind than home, more large than earth, whereon the pillars of this earth are founded, toward which the conscience of the world is tending. A wind is rising and the rivers flow.
As we opened the circle, so now, as we break up this sacred space and go forth, let us close the circle. I ask that we all stand to read closing of the circle. And let us hold hands, if we can. May the circle never be broken. May the earth always be whole. May the rattle always be shaken. And may the wild woman live in our soul. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again.
Yeah, man.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around town, all around town, I'm gonna let it shine. All around town, I'm gonna let it shine. All around town, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine.
we do have coffee and regular